Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. It's a Conquest video and it is time for Sector 3 of Conquest 18, working towards Jocasta new, looking at the feat progress through the third sector, the squads that I was using today, the data disks and the thought process behind them, and then how I tackled the boss nodes. Through this sector, no real progress on the globals today. I did touch the Inquisitor's feat a little bit, but no real progress. During Sector 4, we're going to see me start tackling these because Imperial Remnants are going to be the featured squad of Sector 4. Sector 3, though, we have some unfinished work. Try to efficiently go through and clear this. We got close to being able to accomplish all 4 feats, and I probably could have done 3 out of 4 had I prioritized Captain Rex, but I was prioritizing the stop feats, and I just got too low in stamina to actually finish it with the nodes that I had near the end of the sector. But with the particular combo of feats that we were seeing here, it really did require utilizing 3 distinct squads in order to accomplish these. I think what would have made this a little bit more successful is being able to grind out We Adapt or Die in fewer nodes. And for Sector 3, we didn't use too many squads, basically just what you see on screen here, and that was causing some of those stamina issues because the feats prevented having a lot of overlap, which helps that efficiency. For Stap, we used an Afra squad because this also worked on the speed down. Vader brought the speed down with Force Crush. He has an AoE speed down. You combine that with Merciless Massacre, you get through those Force Crush cooldowns real quick, and you could get 2, maybe 3 Force Crushes off in a single battle. Stop for the surviving. If you don't have Afra, it's going to be a little bit harder because what's nice about Afra is takes out the enemy real quick with that stacking potency effect, and because she can revive Staff if you happen to lose him. But if you don't have Afra, you're going to want to go with either a Newt squad or a General Grievous squad, or Trench if you have him. Just some separatist version that Staff is going to work better with. And then maybe consider bringing in Watt for that chance of a revive of Staff. For We Adapt or Die, we don't have any options. This is an Iden-specific buff, but you can work on the speed down feat simultaneously with Scout Trooper, but it is unfortunately a targeted speed down, so it's going to be slow going. You might get 1 or 2 of those off per battle. Don't really worry about it. My larger goal is to get as many of the Weak and Grieve Laders off per battle as possible to minimize the amount of nodes this is going to take. You should be able to do it twice per battle if you take some time. If you find the right node to use it up against, you might be able to get it up to 3 or 4 if you're really slow, focusing on using basics, but that's going to require little help from going up against an enemy that's not going to take out your own squad. Like a Mon Mothma squad would be ideal. I didn't get too many ideal matchups, so I was getting this off really twice per battle. But it took me a little bit longer than I would have liked. For Captain Rex, I was using General Skywalker. During my pre-conquest speculation of how I thought I was going to tackle these feats, I thought I'd include Wrecker because both Wrecker and Fives apply speed down on basic. But I was already done with speed down real quick before I even started using the squad, so that wasn't necessary at all. Instead, I just brought in Arc Trooper because I liked that Arc Trooper was adding a consistent dispel to the squad that made this a whole lot more successful and easier instead of relying on Echo's AoE dispel, which would only happen a couple turns. But I did get pretty low on stamina with the squad, but it works very well up against strong nodes, so I still stuck with it. Obviously, you could do Phoenix lead as well. This would also be very strong, but this is something where, depending on your mods, this is going to perform less well as your stamina depletes, because it really relies on you having the speed at the start of the battle to get that chain going. And as you get those speed deficits, as the stamina decreases, you could get caught in your own turn meter train from the enemy. By the end of Sector 3, this is how my data disks looked, although the stacking fervor wasn't there. That I just got at the end of Sector 3. I was using some of these 1-dot mods in its place. Don't really love the set that's being built right now. This is just kind of best available. Each time that I hit a node, that's kind of what I'm seeing. We're not coming across any Amplify Agonies. I don't know if they exist this time. We really just have turn meter, some defense, some offense stacking, a little bit of recovery. Minimal stuff. But we do have a nice combo combo of entrenched with fortified that is making my characters pretty survivable to start any battle. And before I start losing characters, the enemy has to get through all of that defense and protection up. At the first fork, we have some nice options: solid intel, protection recovery, evasive technique. We already have one, and that one was because I had no better option before. Down below, we've got a weak spot. We already have blindside, so we don't need another one of those, but I do love blindside. And in this case, this is where I grabbed the protection recovery. Could have grabbed maybe the solid intel, could have thought about some of the others, but I just like the flexibility that a single dot disc will give me, so I went with that. At the crossroads, we have a blue fortified and a protection shield, and entrenched in the center, and a defensive formation down at the bottom. I grabbed the defensive formation because that one I actually like on gas, because with all those attacks out of turn, that creates a nice opportunity where there's a bunch of protection recovery on the squad, making it harder to take out gas in the first place. So it's a particularly good data disk for this sector, with the fact that I'm using gas with Captain Rex. At the next fork, we have a blue painful trials and a quickening blind slide and unstable decelerator. I go for the blue painful trials, it's just best available. And at the boss sector, we've got a blue power, which was tempting, but I have a green power, stacking fervor and ruthless swiftness, and this is where I grab stacking fervor, because with attacks out of turn, that's a pretty good disc, and I always tend to grab it. I like it, especially with assist heavy comp. And then you combine that with the blind side, you can make some nice strong disc combos. And at the start of sector 4, we grab the solid intel. No choices. For the sector 3 middle boss, we have Baylan Skoll in the squad and win with only light side characters. And the Baylan Skoll was a little bit harder than I thought it was going to be. We started with Baylan Skoll lead using mercenary squad. We were a little depleted on stamina from having used mercenaries during sector 2. That was not working for me. So we switched to Cere Junda lead because she adds a ton of survivability. And if you have Baylan Skoll, you're going to have Malicos and Star Killer. So we added them in as well. And here you're going to just see this squad not have any problems, because they just are going to be able to absorb the hits that Star Killer is going to bring with the Unleashed. Going after Palpatine to end some of the assists and some of the turn meter issues. Also, what's nice about Malicos is if he takes them out, he's going to prevent the revive, and that is going to come into play later in this battle. You can see Palp is right there. And we have this opportunity right here for Malicos to knock out Palpatine. Now we're going after Visas. Doesn't really matter. We probably could go after Starkiller, but I was a little concerned about counters coming from Starkiller. We chuck the Saber over at Old Ben, get through the protection. We have an AoE. Out of the way, Parker. Drops the Star Destroyer. Now Parker's in front of the lights. Going after Visas, not a huge deal. Now we can drop our own Star Destroyer, and you can just see that we're just absorbing these hits, not causing any major problems. Part of that is the data disc combo that I was talking about, where we have that entrenched paired with that fortified. So this early battle, we're able to take a lot of hits. Shock is a little bit of a concern because it does shut down the protection up mechanics on Malicos. But we're doing fairly well. Now we take out Old Ben. Now I'm going after Star Killer. Or am I still going after... I guess it doesn't really matter. Oh, I don't go after Star Killer because my own Star Killer and Malicos are in the yellow. So we're weaker. I'm wanting to get them in a position where they can get some recovery before we worry about his Star Killer. I'm worried about those counters taking me out. But Cere Junda can do that saber throw, and now we have nothing to worry about. AoE finishes him off. For light side characters, we just go with the Sector Feats squad with General Skywalker. At this point, you can see we're not too depleted on stamina. We're at 80%. And in this combo, I'm using Echo, not Arc Trooper. That was something that we kind of figured out throughout the sector. But this worked out really well. It was much more dominant than I was expecting it to be. I thought it was going to be a little bit more problematic. Maybe we'd lose some characters. Still targeting Palpatine, but with Gas Lead, we don't have to worry about revives. But I'm not going after Star Killer yet because I just am concerned about counters and Unleashed happening too early or at an inopportune time. Like if I'm kneeling and that Unleashed happens, that's going to be a much bigger issue than Unleashed happening when Gas is still standing. But you can see the hits that we're taking. We still got that protection up. Star Killer's almost down. And we actually handle it without an issue. But you can see the thought process I had where I thought this was going to be much more of a problem than it turned out to be. Just kind of walk through it. For Sector 3, final boss, we got Bad Batch. Gungans, we don't have any options here. I did wonder if Bad Batch would be easier with some of the new characters with like Fugitive Omega, but that's not anything I experimented with. I did find Gungans to be a little bit easier of the two squads to handle. I'm actually going to speed up the footage because these battles took a long time. But with this type of thing, you don't have to worry about Dark Trooper. He's going to kind of fall down on his own. With an Enoch squad, you want to take out Enoch first, because there's certain crit immunity conditions that are created when Enoch is still on the field. You take him out so it's easier to crit the troopers and prevent the decay mechanic. Because you need to take the characters out with a critical hit, otherwise they continue to decay. You'll see that happen a little bit more in the next battle. Right now we're stuck behind the taunt. We do have chances at Deathmark, but that's nothing to rely on from Jar Jar. Dark Trooper down from the AoE. I'm waiting for Tarpals to dispel or an AoE to help me do it. And now we're stuck behind another taunt, so I actually go with the basic to get past that taunt. Take out Enoch. And now I just auto, because I know this is going to take a while. Because it's just the luck of whether or not you're going to get the critical hit. And plus, he had crit hit immunity for the moment. Or no, he had crit damage. Never mind. He had crit damage up. But we got lucky with one AoE taking out Stormtrooper. We have 9 stacks of decay over on Night Trooper. So that can go either way. I'm kind of surprised how quickly he went down. But Gungan is not too bad. For the Bad Batch attempt, this one actually took me 2 attempts. It was a little bit more problematic. We lost some characters in the first attempt. That's why I started thinking about, do I want to use some of the newer Bad Batch characters? But it turned out to be fine. I think it is a little bit more important to auto on this one. That was much more... It was much more of an issue to get through the stacks of decay with this squad. But you just use your standard Bad Batch squad. I think this would be fine even if you don't have full relics, like if you don't have Lord Vader. The Bad Batch squad tends to punch up, especially if you can get some protection up. They're a very survivable squad. Same deal here. You're going after Captain Enoch first. And actually with Echo's mechanics, the characters, the Imperial Remnant characters do take themselves out pretty effectively. The one issue though is it's somewhat tough to crit them. You're going to see me right here. We take out Night Trooper, we actually get lucky, get a crit, and take him out with 1 hit. But you're going to see me for the rest of these try to time out those critical hits, and I'm just not going to get them. You're just going to see these stacks of decay continue to increase. They do get weaker as these stacks of decay get larger, so it's a little bit easier to take them out, and potentially easier to get those crits, but you can see, like from some of these attempts, it's just kind of slow in adding to the stacks of decay. It's why we increase the speed of the footage. But this is one where, as long as you don't lose Wrecker early, which is what happened during the first attempt, you just hit auto and you can let it go. I haven't even hit auto yet, but it's something, because I was trying to manage the attacks and the crits at first, but at a certain point here I'm going to just decide to give up and just go for taking them out through the stacks of decay. It's probably going to happen right about now. So right here, we don't get it. We're at 6 stacks of decay on Stormtrooper, so I'm just going for it. Hoping the echo mechanics will take out Judge Death passively, because he is receiving % health damage from Echo's unique Zeta, which you really should have if you don't. Now we're at 9 stacks, and we take out the Stormtrooper, now going after Judge Death. I think I take him out before the 10 stacks. I finally get the luck that I need, but you can see that's just not something to rely on. And the decay, going for the decay is a little bit easier. We're at 8. And right there, we do get it, but it's just like 1 or 2 early. We will be back tomorrow for Sector 4, and hopefully Sector 5. We might not have the energy to get Sector 5 done tomorrow as well, but we have Sectors 1 and 2 already up. I'll put one of them around here, but we have my overview, which does include how I'm approaching Sectors 4 and 5, if you don't want to wait for those videos. My initial thoughts prior to the start of Conquest is in that video with Jocasta new in the thumbnail. So thank you for watching. Be excellent to each other, everybody. This is Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes.